Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with a repeat guest, my friend, Malissa Vogel. She's also known as MJ. Some of you know her as MJ. Most of you probably know her as MJ. She's a transformational coach who has shared the stages with some of the biggest names and consulted some of the top Fortune 500 companies in the world. She models self-accountability, overcoming adversity, habit implementation to build around and climate and dominate setbacks. Where does I see climate? I saw climate somewhere.
You gotta crank up climate anyways, bro. So it's cool.
Damn, dominate setbacks. That's me, man. Talking about setbacks. We dominate setbacks. We convert setbacks. Let's go. What's up, MJ?
What's up, man? Thanks so much for having me on here. It's a pleasure as always to talk to you. I mean, I consider you a brother from a long distance, so it's always a pleasure to connect with you and chat with you.
Yeah, and I think we've only seen each other maybe twice in real life, like in person, something like that.
Twice, maybe three. I don't know, but I feel like I know you all the time because I always see you on Instagram. And then COVID happened, right? So we've talked many times over the phone or over Instagram and on podcasts and everything. So it's always a pleasure to connect with you.
Well, and MJ is also one of the founding members of Blooprinted, which we're going to talk about in this episode as well. And she's going to have a couple blueprints up and probably more as the time goes on. But we're really excited about that project that we're all working on together. And we'll talk, like I said, more about that as we get going. But so, MJ, let me just ask you. So we usually say, what are you made of to start the show? You've been on here before, but let's just see what your answer is today. What are you made of?
I would say piss and vinegar. Well, and I was talking to Kid Jocelyn about this earlier. So I'm made of a mission statement. I'm made of overcoming adversities and repurposing them for good and for a blessing for the world. So I came from, as you know, and some of the audience may know, but last time we did a podcast, I think it was about 3 years ago, I came from very humble beginnings. One of my first bedrooms was a closet. I worked up to 4 jobs for myself through college while building a business. Primarily all left-handed because my right hand was, my collarbone was separated for over a decade. Built a business, made it from rock bottom, all of those things, graduated with 2 degrees, and then got diagnosed with an incurable neurological disorder that can be, not always, but can be spontaneously fatal. So all of that stuff, right? I came from very humble beginnings, very motivated, very excited about life, always wanting to execute on this mission statement that I found at the age of 14, which was I'm going to become the best version of myself for myself. I'm going to show people that they can do anything that they put their minds to, regardless of other people's opinions, limitations, or oppressions. So I was always driven with that mission statement. And then with getting this diagnosis, with going through 12 surgeries back to back, I got filled up with so much motivation, so much enthusiasm, so much perspective that I wish the world could have as to the intentionality, the motivation, and the purpose to go and get something done today versus waiting tomorrow.
Did you have any moments where during that period of time where you felt like anger and I don't know what the other words I'm thinking about, but like anger towards something or somebody, or even regret? Did you go through like a victim stage, like any of that come up and then you fought through that?
So I definitely was at a victim stage at the age of 14. So at the age of 14, before I came up with that mission statement, I was self-educated. No one outside of my family knew I existed because of everything that was happening in my household. And I attempted to end my life. And it was at that particular moment where your life flashes in front of your eyes and you realize, hey, what am I saying with this decision that I'm making? What am I telling other people that came from similar circumstances, different circumstances, whatever it may be? If they're being told that their life is pointless, what am I telling them with my actions and my obituary, if this actually succeeds, that they should believe it? So that broke me out of that victimhood mentality. Not even 6 months later, I got hit by a truck, broke my collarbone, dislocated my shoulder. I did everything left-handed that was overhead. Did I feel like a victim? Absolutely. However, that mission statement kept me going. And then after all of that, when I hit 25 years old, and I built my first business enough to sustain myself, I quit my last of 4 night jobs, and I actually graduated with my second business degree. 3 months later, I got diagnosed with this neurological condition, and I felt like I was cursed. I felt like I was a victim. I felt like I was not meant to be successful, and I felt like every single thing was for nothing. And I felt that way probably for about 1.5 years.
Did you believe them when they told you it's incurable?
I began to believe it as I communicated with more and more top neurosurgeons within the United States, because what they do is they do brain surgeries to slow the progression of brain damage and nerve damage. And also, as soon as they do the surgery, so what they do with the surgery is they remove the back part of your skull, and then they shave off a large slab of scar tissue from your brain beating into your skull, and they keep it open. And they said, when you're a woman and you hit your 30s, because I was 25 at the time, your brain may slip through your skull. You don't know that. And we can't fix this currently. And this is like some of the top neurosurgeons in the United States. At the time, they just said, we just have to monitor this, and you go and live your life the best you possibly can. Hopefully we never have to talk about it again, but there's no curing it. It's just managing the symptoms.
Do you have a hole in your head right now?
Mm-hmm.
And what covers it?
Skin.
Oh, okay. So it's just not skull.
Yep. No skull.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So what if I were to tell you that it is curable?
I would say that it's on its way to becoming curable. And when we talk about, like, we're both involved in the 10X community, and I've talked to Grant Cardone about this too. I write it down regularly in my planner that I cured Chiari malformation. I think that it is. Chiari malformation, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's essentially your brain doesn't fit into your skull, and it's a malformation of the skull. We just, as a country and as a civilization, I want to say, did the first skull transplant surgery about 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I don't think it was successful, but we're on our way to figure out how to do that. And I know based on habit implementation, I can sure as hell outperform anybody that doesn't have it regardless. So I try my absolute damnedest not to be a victim of it as we work towards an actual cure, and try to be a model for seeking a cure and trying to be a model to anything I can to create a cure, and also communicate regularly with the disclosure that I'm not a doctor with people within the QRA community to connect in with some of the top neurosurgeons in the United States and save their own lives. Like, I'm very heavily involved in working toward trying to find a cure.
Well, I love that. And I'll just tell you that you're not a doctor, but you are a spiritual being, and I'm a spiritual being, and any spiritual being that decides something can make it happen.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
I know that for a fact. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody thinks. When you know something, you know something. Mm-hmm. And this got not just for this, but I had this realization a couple of weeks ago. I was in LA, and I started to realize something that, a lot of times I know something. And a lot of, not just me, but everybody, but I was talking about myself at the time. Yeah. And I know something and I know it. Yeah. But then I would go into a group or talk to a person or whatever, and I would hear invalidation, whether it was discouragement, whatever it was, doctors even, you go in a clubhouse sometimes and you hear doctors who are educated, don't get me wrong, have experience, don't get me wrong, but they invalidate people sometimes because it's not their belief. Oh, and that person, when you get invalidated, you pull back. But the fact of the matter is, when you know something, and it doesn't matter what anybody says or thinks, and you need to stick to it. Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I would say too, like, you keep in that situation, you keep seeking people that are going to help you support your goals and dreams. So I'll give another example. Last year, I had shoulder reconstruction surgery. I mentioned this earlier when we were just talking. I was hit by a truck, broke my collarbone, dislocated my shoulder. Now, when I say hit by a truck, I was on a bicycle and I went flying. My collarbone was separated for 10 years. Doctors told me just to stretch it out. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They did shoulder surgery in my state 2014. They didn't fix it. And then I went into another doctor in 2021 last year, and he said, well, you know what? You have this connective tissue disorder. Everybody's going to be in pain for the rest of their lives. You're not going to be able to fix this shoulder at all. You should just get on narcotics. I'm not going to lie. I went to my car and I cried for about 5 minutes, and I said, fuck them. They have no idea what they're talking about. Connected in with some of the people that do surgeries on Colin Kaepernick, Tom Brady, like top freaking athletes in the world. And what they figured out was, hey, you need a rotator cuff tendon. You need a relocation on your bicep tendon. You need to reattach your collarbone because it's separated. You need a replacement AC joint. Cost me $60,000, but they had the answer. So a lot of these people that are devalidating is because they don't believe in their damn selves enough to be able to solve the problem. Unfortunately, I'm sure that they have good intentions, but in my mind and how I'm still alive on this planet right now has been seeking people that will actually help me with finding a solution.
Love it. Love it. All right. So talk about your book.
So what my book currently is about, I've got a couple of them, but my book behind it, that's about habit implementation, massive habit implementation for radical success. So for people that are not familiar with my story, like I said, I lost all of my mobility for the most part. I was bedridden for about 2 years. I had brain surgery in 2015, all the way until the January 2017. I had a total of 12 surgeries, if not more, because I began to lose count. And after that, I was blacking out every 3 hours. And I figured, hey, I'm going to create a change. I'm going to tap back into this mission statement. How do I do it? I can't go back to who I used to be. I can't go back to the Mallisa that can work 4 jobs while going to college. It's not possible right now, but what can I do? I can build a new version of myself that can conquer this current adversity, this current setback, and all of that stuff. And I started doing a habit a week. I'm a big fan of Will Smith and his motivational topics. And he talked about, he said, you do not set out to build a wall. You don't set out and say, I'm going to build the biggest wall possible. You don't do it like that. What you do is you lay brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And eventually you look up and you have a wall. That's what I did. I started building the new version of myself by implementing a habit a week. And I did that for 2 years straight, to the point where now I can run 3 companies. Now I can share the stages with some of the biggest names in the world: John Maxwell, Floyd Mayweather, Matthew Knowles, Bobby Castro, Bradley, all these other people. And then I can build that new version of myself that can do that by doing it one small brick at a time. So I did that for 2 years straight, to where I can perform now up to 18 hours a week. 18 hours a day, and then do a 100-mile bike race and all this other crap. And that book right behind me is the top habits that I found within a 2-year-long period of building the new version of myself that's been able to transform a lot of people's lives. It's a bestseller currently.
Love it. Love it. So what's a daily life like for you on a daily basis? Like, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? Like, take me through a day.
So first thing I do, 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up. I wake up for that for 2 different reasons. One, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get chronic pain under control. Some days I don't have it at all. Some days I'm like, oh God, I'm dying. But that way I have that extra time so I can still get ahead of my marketplace, because a lot of them don't wake up until 9 or get after it until 9. So it takes me a few hours. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I go through that pain routine if I need to, which is about 1 time a week, maybe 2 times a week, depending on how much I'm pushing my physical body. And then I go into meditation, I go into journaling, I go into watching something funny first thing in the morning, to like lightheartedness, to raise the vibrations up further. And then as soon as I get done with my morning routine, which typically includes exercise as well, then I just start getting after it and breaking down emails. I've got my entire week planned out ahead of time. I plan my week every single Sunday, all the way until the Sunday afterwards. So I've got everything ironed out, and I know exactly what the hell I'm doing to take over the market share. And that means bouncing between the businesses. That means bouncing between the 3 of them, doing as many cold calls as I can, and then client service management. And everything in my life is extremely structured, because that, in my mind, is the way to success. People say they don't like structure. A lot of times that means they don't like success.
Yeah, I agreed. So what are the 3 businesses, MJ?
So right now I do consulting for Fortune 500 companies. I've been doing that for about 10 years. The other one I do is motivational speaking and business coaching. I've been able to increase people's income about 30% within 3 weeks. And then the third one is one that I just started in December that I could be scaling much, much bigger, but it's something that's very close and near to my heart, where I set out to build a business that people can implement and immediately cash flow with literally no money at all. So essentially what that is I've built a process where I can cash flow things within 3 days, where I go after short-term rental properties that don't require buying real estate, that don't require high capitalization and anything really, and is completely pre-leased before you even make the full commitment of signing the lease. And the reason why I did that is because I want to give back to the community. I know what it's like to feel broke. I know what it's like to come from nothing. I know what it's like to try to figure out, hey, am I going to keep a roof over my head, or am I going to pay for a procedure? Hey, am I going to keep the roof over my head, or am I going to eat groceries? And I wanted to give back to the people that are single mothers, the people that are heading into retirement, not thinking Social Security is going to make it, people that have came from absolutely nothing that want to create something new. So I built this model in a way that literally anybody can do it. And I'm starting, that's the latest book that I wrote, which is 3 Days of Cash Flow. And I'm also putting that into a course on the Blooprinted that allows people to cash flow with money in their bank within 3 days of getting the actual keys, and pay close to nothing in the process.
Wow. I'm excited about that, man. See, this is what Blooprinted is all about. So I have a lot of knowledge up here. It's all over the place, and I'm going to be learning more, but I know that I can't impact and create unstoppable people all over this planet by myself. So Blooprinted for me was an opportunity for me to get people like yourself that have this knowledge and creativity to come in and share these different things with people. Because if we can do that and we bring all of our minds together, man, we're unstoppable, and we can cover so many different categories. And so this is let's go into Blooprinted now, and then we'll talk about your summit to wrap up. But Blooprinted is, just for those of you listening that don't know what Blooprinted is, it's a marketplace of step-by-step processes to outcomes, different outcomes, generally within 30 days. But it doesn't have to be. But we're trying to get quick wins, bite-sized wins through tasks each day to build confidence on the way to a bigger outcome. And so MJ is one of our founding members in Blooprinted. She's going to have a couple in there. One of them is the one she just talked about, 3 days to cash flow. But MJ, let's talk about the blueprints you're going to be putting there. That's one of them, and the other one, and what the other one is, and how are people going to benefit from those?
So I think the big thing, and I mean, we run a lot in the same circles. So people that run, if you're Mike C-Roc's audience right now, money's important. You absolutely know money's important. And if you don't know money's important, I'm going to tell you once again that I hope you don't have to make the decision on life-saving surgery or a roof over your head, because I've had to make that decision and it sucked 120%. So the 3 days to cash flow model that I'm building, that's going to help people massively with being able to make the impact that they want with themselves, their community, and all of those things, and do it passively. And I built this model in a way where I truly only spend probably about 3 hours a week, if that, on the thing, because I've got it automated. I struggle with chronic illness, so I'm already very good prior to this to systems on organization, on delegation, on being able to get the most impact out of the minimal amount of hours, because I've worked up to 4 jobs since I was like a teenager anyways. So I'm showing people, chronically ill or not, how do you get there? How do you cash flow so you can maintain working your 9 to 5, but you have additional money coming aside where you can work yourself out of that. And I think that that's going to be a huge gift for people to get financial independence. The next course that I'm probably going to be launching on there is going to be based on the ebook, which is going to help people with building a morning routine, developing mental toughness, because let's be honest, life's going to punch you in the face. You need to be able to have the ability to believe in yourself. And you can't just do that by looking in the mirror being like, I'm a multimillionaire. No, you need to develop mental toughness, affirmations that work, a system, a regular daily routine, a weekly goal routine, and all of these different habits that I built throughout 2 years of doing a habit a week that personally transformed my life, as well as many other people, obviously enough to make it into a bestseller, but it's going to cut all the fluff like Mike C-Roc's talking about, and it's going to be the blueprint. So many people buy courses and they don't do the crap because they just get lost in the fluff. This is going to be like, hey, you really want to change, this is how you do it, step by step by step. Let's roll, let's go, and let's stop making excuses. So those are probably going to be the top 2 that I'm going to release. 3 days to cash flow being the first one, because I feel like as we head into hyperinflation, arguably a recession, depending upon how the Federal Reserve reacts, potentially a depression, I find it very important for people to be financially literate and financially well provided for themselves and financially sufficient within themselves. So I think that's the reason why I'm releasing that one first, is because I think we're in a marketplace of people that really need to learn that. If they didn't learn it throughout COVID times, they certainly need to learn it now.
I love that. So guys, listen, so here's what's going to happen. When this is finished, you'll be able to go on blooprinted.com onto MJ's page and actually see these blueprints, but you can buy them, and then you'll actually be able to implement them into your calendar. So that, like MJ was just talking about how important her calendar is to her. Sundays, she looks at her whole week, has everything. So she doesn't have to think about what she's got to do that day, each day. In Blooprinted, this is an innovative feature that we've added to Blooprinted. Unlike anything out there, you can actually schedule your blueprint on what days of the week you want to work on it. And on a project like this, is probably like a Monday through Friday type thing. It depends on what the blueprint is, but you pull it into your calendar. We have a way to just implement it right into your calendar. And then you have MJ sitting there telling you what to do each day on your calendar already. So, I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about seeing how this transpires. And we're also going to be doing some things where we work with our creators, where we're going to be masterminding and doing different summits and events with them, speaking events and all that, so that everybody that is in the community can come in and learn and grasp things. And this is all about action rather than consumption. Action rather than consumption, because we can consume as much as we want, but if we don't take action, like you said, we're not going to get the outcome.
Yep.
So, all right. So now we got to go to the summit. I'm going to speak at a summit. I'm going to be heading to LA and traveling, and then I'm going to be 3 hours different. So I got to get my schedule right, because I get all like confused in the 3 hours for some reason. It always messes me up. But I'm going to be out in LA talking virtually on your summit. Can you talk to us about the summit? Who's going to be there, and why should people join?
So this is a free virtual summit. This is once again giving back to the community. So I ran this one time before a couple months ago, and I'm turning this into a quarterly thing. And I am not to be arrogant, to be clear. I'm exorbitantly particular, though, on who I bring on to these virtual summits. The last one we ran was huge. We had Ken Jocelyn on, Brad Blazer on, we had Craig Siegel on, we had Daniel Gomez on. All of them are huge speakers throughout the community, and everyone absolutely freaking loved it. And it allows the speakers to share audiences, mindstorm together. That's why it's called mindstorming. It's not just brainstorming, but it's kind of like a mastermind thing where you're also connecting in with the audience and really having the audience be able to ask real questions in the chat. And Craig Siegel did that section amazing. That guy's like the friggin' Energizer Bunny, where he was interacting with all the people in the chat so that it's collaborative, but also some of the best minds coming and sharing with the audience on what they can do to transform their lives immediately. This will be the second time that it's ran since the first one was so successful. And I have no doubt that this one's going to be even bigger. So we've got Master Jeff. He's a huge, huge speaker. He's got about 1.3 million followers on Instagram. Absolutely dynamite guy, completely omnipresent, works with a lot of huge names. We've got obviously yourself on, which is going to be freaking fantastic. We've got Michael Unbroken on. That man, his story is phenomenal. The things that he's been able to transform within himself as well as the world. And the podcast he has is massively successful. One of my favorite people. And then we're going to have a gentleman by the name of Chris Barnett, who has an amazing freaking transformational story that helps people with getting their mind, their emotional, and their physical state moving forward in a direction to overcome any adversities and any setbacks. And I'll be the DJ of the event. I'm going to be giving some talks here and there that are going to tie into everything, talking about your circle of influence, talking about how you transform your life, talking about the importance of financial independence and all of these different things. But what I love about it is it's everybody going in there that has a huge connection and giving back to the community, offering their services as well. Yes, because I mean, I think it was John Maxwell who said, hey, I've saved a few people's lives on stage. Yes. But most often I can't change their lives unless they actually come and talk to me one-on-one and we connect one-on-one and we move things forward. So it's a huge opportunity for people that are maybe not where they want to be in their lives to at least come in and listen to it for free. And I would say if you do come and check it out, do not be scared to check out and connect with the speakers, because once again, I was very picky on who I brought onto this stage because I wanted to find people that were doing it for the right reasons, that have the right intentions in their heart, and that want to create a big impact. And I mean, you and I have been wording it differently this entire podcast, but I know that we have the exact same intentions because we keep just saying it with a little bit different words. We want to make a damn impact. We want to change the world. And that's what makes a good coach, a good speaker, a good influencer, and a good transformational person is doing it with the right intentions. And the people that are on this stage are doing it for the right intentions.
Love it. Love it. Well, look, guys, check that out. Where can they find more information about the summit? And actually, I'm going to try to push this out before then. So
so they can connect onto it to mjacksoninspire coaching /mindstorming. They can connect with me on Instagram, which is MJ Vogel Inspire. I post that regularly. All of the speakers are posting about it regularly. And then I've also sent over marketing material to your team as well. And everybody's team that's going to be on that stage to send over to their audience, because we really want to make this thing as big as possible. With how unique the past few years have been, it can be a great opportunity for a lot of people to make a lot of shifts and transformations in their lives, as well as a lot of impact within their community.
Awesome. Well, I love it. I love it. Love having you on here. Love you and appreciate everything that you do. And let's keep rocking, MJ. Let's keep doing it. And you guys, thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting me, my show, my guests. I can't thank you enough, because I can't create unstoppable people without the help of all of you. So keep coming back. Go subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. If you'd like to watch these, go to Mike C-Roc, Ciorrocco on YouTube. You don't have to spell the last name. If you just look up Mike C-Roc, you'll find me. And then also I'm thinking about, because I just got some information, a little bit of advice from people. Seek counsel, not opinion, as Greg Reed says, that I should take this show on the road. So I'm thinking about doing that and figuring out ways that I could do that to bring this to you, but from a different environment, a different scene. And so just be looking out for that as we go forward. But until next time, all be unstoppable.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mike C-Roc. Appreciate it.